Sessions. And thank you very much for joining us today at the Vision Network by Women Mayors today. I would like to now begin Subcommittee 5's discussion on the topic of promotion of SDGs and empowerment of women. My name is Asako Osaki, and I'm the subcommittee facilitator. I'm happy to be here. Amidst the backdrop of young caregivers and the Mito movement, society is paying more attention to the poverty issue and harassment and violence against women. The Gender Equality SDG and women's empowerment have taken position as prerequisites for finding solutions to these problems. This is going to be the prerequisites and absolutely essential in addressing these issues. Meanwhile, we are seeing growing momentum for action, such as government recognition that this is a time when advancing the SDGs means a transition from the awareness phase to concrete measures. So that is our situation as of today. Now, in this subcommittee, I like for us to take up some urgent topics concerning women's empowerment, such as initiatives to protect women from harassment and violence, as well as poverty, as well as specialized education and economic support for women. I'd also like to ask for the members' views on approaches to rolling out concrete actions and on a methodology for spreading society's commitment. First, I'd like to introduce the women ambassadors to Japan joining us in this subcommittee session. Her Excellency Ms. Marieta ARABADJIEVA, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of the Republic of Bulgaria. Her Excellency Ms. Tophace, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of the Republic of Uganda. Her Excellency Ms. Tanja JÄÄSKELÄINEN, appointed to be the next Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of the Republic of Finland. Next, I would also like to introduce the mayors who are joining us in the subcommittee. Ms. Misako Tamura, Mayor of Hinode, Tokyo. Ms. Mito Sato, Mayor of Zama, Kanagawa. Thank you for joining us.
Our first topic is women's empowerment as a solution. I have some shocking data in my hand that I'd like to share. Japan's rate of relative poverty is about 15%, second worst in the G7. Poverty is concentrated among elderly households and single-parent households, where 1 in 6 are in relative poverty. And Japan's gender pay gap is third worst in the world. Because the law was enacted in Japan earlier this year, so that all the government agencies and business corporations in the private sector have to disclose the gender pay gap. It is 4.5 times larger than the OECD average, and it is the third worst in the world. Of course, this problem is not one that is confined to Japan, and then in order to resolve the gender gap and then poverty problems in Japan and around the world, I would like to ask what are the actions and efforts being made by the leaders in the different areas and the local communities. Let's start with the ambassador of Bulgaria. Actions and the SDGs show that eradicating poverty, harassment, and violence is a global issue. What actions are being taken in your country, Bulgaria, to address this issue and achieve the SDGs?
Minasan, konnichiwa.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to join today's event and to share Bulgaria's experience in the area of women empowerment. It goes without saying that achieving gender equality and women's empowerment is integral. It's key to each of the 17 SDGs. We women possess knowledge, experience, and unique approach to challenges and leadership qualities, and we should be included equally in the decision-making process. We all talked about, in the previous session, about COVID and how the pandemic had affected our lives, especially the lives of women. It is true that COVID had left women more vulnerable in each and every area of social and economic development. And COVID, in many cases, as a positive result, has spurred innovation. However, this innovation is lacking very often gender lenses. I would like to share with you a bit of a Bulgarian perspective in terms of women's empowerment. We in Bulgaria are very much proud of having a progressive presence of our women in our political leadership. This tendency still remains, post-COVID, remains very strong. Just a couple of numbers. 40% of our Council of Ministers, the seats are occupied by women, and we have 15% mayors in our municipalities, still way to go. Bulgaria is the 6th in the EU in terms of gender equality in power. So these are all, of course, positive developments. According to Eurostat data, Bulgaria holds the leading position in Europe in the number of women working in the IT sector. 27%. The average number for the EU is around 17–18%. Bulgaria has also a very big number of women scientists and engineers, up to 53%. And women in digital, empowering women to be more present in the digital area has been a priority for our government for the past more than a couple of years. One of the programs under the government is called Women in the Digital World. And the purpose of this program is to encourage all women and girls to acquire digital skills and competences which will contribute to their economic independence and which will prevent violence against women. This program brings together not only the government but also universities and NGOs. And another area where Bulgaria is putting a lot of effort is increasing the number of women in STEM education. Just a while ago, there was a number mentioned, 50% poverty in Japan. I believe, I don't know the specific number for Bulgaria, but I believe this is a phenomenon that can be seen in many countries in the world, and increasing digital competences of women and elderly people is one way to go to diminish this interdependence and this negative dependence of elderly and women in terms of economic empowerment. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So the percentage of the women in the decision-making process is very high. That's very impressive. And in the digital and the scientific and technology areas, women's participations are increasingly active and expanding. And also the STEM education for women and young girls is a focused area. In Japan as well, digital industries is very much developed, but the female presence is very small still in Japan. And also, the digital professions and the scientific and technology sectors have higher wages. So that is the male dominance in those sectors is one of the gender pay gap as well. So we can learn much from Bulgaria. Thank you very much. Now I would like to turn to Japanese local heads. So the women's predominantly presence in the care, nursing care, and the child rearing, child care areas, and also there are domestic work, so-called care work, and such as house chores and child rearing and taking care of elderly people. So the poverty and harassment and also violence, in addition to those issues, in the SDGs context, the unpaid care work labor that is concentrated on the shoulders of women. So how to distribute and how to alleviate this burden is very much important to SDGs and goals, 17 of them, and then the promotion of the equal promotion of education for both genders is a focused area in that context. So I'd like to ask Ms. Tamura, what are the efforts being made in this area in your town and any other SDGs related efforts? Thank you very much. And my name is Misako Tamura, Mayor of Hinode town. Thank you very much for this valuable opportunity. We have 16,500 people as a population of Hinode town. It's a very small town, and 70% of our land is cherished with a natural landscape. So, but we have similar issues as urban areas issues such as domestic violence and the vulnerability of women and other people who are in a vulnerable situation in the society and communities. We have to resolve all these various issues. But our town, it's small in size. Therefore, it is very difficult for for us to have a dedicated section for each specific issues. Several years back, we had a relatively abundant budget, so we distributed some coupons to promote and to tackle these issues. And then when we conducted a survey, possibly partly to that type of actions, 80% of the citizens responded that they would like to continue to live in our town. So the degrees of satisfaction is quite high. But still, there are people in our town living still in the poverty, and not everything can be resolved with money. So we also considered in our budget consideration. So we cut by half financial aid, such as a coupon distribution, and then we are now allocating more of the budget to consultation to have more consultants available. So and then specifically we created a center for families and children, and also we have school counselors and so the existing counseling frameworks will be collaborating with the new ones so that people in need of support, such as children, and we would like to tackle various issues and to lead to women's empowerment as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now I would like to ask Mayor Sato. Thank you. I'm from Zama City, Kanagawa Prefecture. It is wonderful to have this opportunity to have such a discussion on the themes. And I'm looking forward to hearing what initiatives are taking place in other places. Zama is in central Kanagawa Prefecture. The population is 132,000 people, which is pretty dense. It's a highly densely populated area for a small area. Here in Japan, the issue has been the poverty of the single mother household. About 80% come from them going through divorces, and over 70% people of these women have not been able to receive child care pay from their former spouses. So we think that this is part of the reason why they're in poverty. So we have done a survey in Zama about the status. So about 70% of the people, the women who have left the marriage and are caring for children, are not receiving child care allowance from their former spouses. Here in Zama, or at Zama, we have very high self-sufficiency rate. And so that is why the city has been mainly, that is because we have been mainly focusing on trying to assist people so they can be self-sufficient. We provide the service, a consultation service as well. If there are any situations or when we identify any women potentially facing the risk of falling into poverty, then we would like to identify them and connect them to the necessary local government departments so they can be supported. So, and the locations they can consult is not just these government functions, but there could be other organizations such as shelters, NPOs, who are assisting in other ways, such as providing food and such. So we are trying to create that network, the safety net. And also from now on, consultation should be expanded as from our side, so we can listen to them. Thank you. And in Japan, and because I'm the social safety network here in Japan is that these basic local governments are working very hard, and there seems to be some detailed care that is given to these households in need. So let's move on to the next topic. So in addition to addressing current issues, some have said that empowering women and achieving the SDGs will have a major impact in terms of ensuring sustainable development in countries and communities. And these are prerequisites, and this is shared within Japan as well as among the other global communities. So digital education, helping empower women by providing these services to make sure that these women can also start joining the ranks of decision-making. So there are many initiatives that are taking place, and this is being covered and specifically illustrated under the SDGs. So a sustainable country, a sustainable region, in order to help achieve these systems, how exactly can we work on pushing forward female empowerment? So let's now start asking some questions. So Ambassador KAAHWA from Uganda, I would like to ask you, what are the initiatives that are taking place in Uganda, and hoping that you would like to see the elimination of a gender gap that are still present?
Thank you so much, Moderator, and I'm so grateful and for the opportunity to share the Women Empowerment chapter in Uganda. Uganda has made wide strides in women empowerment. And here we have several policies we have put in place. And to indicate that Uganda has made a wide strides, we have the Vice President, we have the Prime Minister, the Speaker of Parliament, and a good number of ministers in the Cabinet. We have policies that we have put in place to achieve that. The first policy we have is gender responsive budgeting. Gender responsive budgeting is a process where all ministries have to indicate the gender issues, women issues, and before the budget is passed, you have to present a certificate to Parliament to show that all the issues that pertaining women are being catered for. Take, for example, health. If the budget is for health, we shall look at maternity wards in our health centers. How much money have you allocated for maternity wards where our women will be going for delivery? And how much have you set for mama kit? Those are items they use in the maternity wards. We have affirmative action for women to increase the number of women in Parliament and big positions, or we request the government to put affirmative action. We have a special seat for women in Parliament. Women contest per district amongst themselves, but men are given the responsibility to vote. Men vote for women. They are given that responsibility to help women identify the woman who can represent women effectively. There is also affirmative action for women. We have women councils. Besides the general councils, where we have men and women, we have created women councils from village level to national level, where women elect their chairperson, the vice, the secretary, the treasurer. The whole committee is for women. And on the general committees of women councils from local one to national level, we have a position designated for women up to parliament level. It starts from village level. So the council one, there are 9 people. We expect to have a seat for women. Still on affirmative action, we have a policy. A third of the constitution of any committee, board, BT board, or committees, a third of the presentation must be women. And this one, we have achieved it, and even beyond. In some committees, we find we have like 2/3, and men support it so much, like in the positions of the treasurer. They really feel comfortable when a woman takes on that position of a treasurer. So they struggle by themselves and say, no, that position we should do designated for a woman. We have a program called WEP. WEP program is a Uganda Women Entrepreneurship Program. It supports women in entrepreneurship. Women who have small businesses are given soft loans to support them at village level. But they support women who are in groups, small groups. If they're working in markets, they are given money by government on a small interest to support them. Then they return the money in bits, in installments. We also have a program in education, girl-child education. Support girl-child education. In Africa, it's a very big challenge for girls, younger girls, to continue in education. So when I realized it was a very big challenge, we came up with affirmative action for girls. And in our constitution, it is indicated that all people have equal rights. So all people have equal rights, all equal rights to education. So in Uganda, we have equal rights. Boys and girls have equal rights in education. When a girl is impregnated underage or is delivers underage, we call them child mothers. This happened so much during COVID. Many of our girls, because of that redundancy, because of not being in school, they were impregnated. So there is a law of them to continue with their education without missing any gap, any year or any day. They continue with their education. We get someone to take care of their children or their parents or grandparents to take care of the children so that the girls can continue. We can't miss the brain at that level. We have a law on defilement. In Uganda, a mature person is 18 years. So if a girl is impregnated below age, that is below 18, there is a law for imprisoning the man, the boy or man who has made this girl pregnant for 7 years. And the girl must continue with her studies. I thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. The policies are many. If given more time, I can share more than that. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. There are many advanced policies that Ambassador shared with you, gender as response budget. This is not a word that we often hear in Japan, probably. So the public budget is distributed and structured in a way that the budget benefit both men and women, and then policies are implemented based with those budgets. It's very critical, and we would like to learn much from Uganda as well. Now, I would like to ask an ambassador from Finland, Ambassador JÄÄSKELÄINEN, and then the Finland. We understand that in terms of SDGs achievement, Finland is #1 ranking in the world for consecutive 2 years, in 2021 and 2022. So how, through what kind of policies and actions are you accelerating empowerment and then eliminating a gender gap and achieve SDGs, please?
Thank you very much for inviting me, and thank you for the important question as well. Well, due to decades-long efforts, Finland has a good track record in gender equality, and the Global Gender Gap report of this year actually ranks Finland at number 2. So this means that that women in Finland usually work full-time and enjoy equal access to education and healthcare. It is also a country where women are most likely to participate fully in the country's political economic life. But even in our society, we are never ready. There's never 100% equality, and we need to strive forward and help encourage other societies as well. And now I'd like to mention some of the Finnish government action plans efforts, how to help gender equality and SDGs globally. So the policy deliverables are to defend the rights of women and girls, particularly during Finland's membership of the UN Human Rights Council, which is currently ongoing. To increase the proportion of development projects that include a gender equality goal towards 85% by 2025. Mainstream gender equality in development cooperation systematically and evaluate its impacts. We also want to increase the number of experts serving as gender advisors in civilian crisis management missions, including more men serving in these positions. We also aim at increasing multilateral cooperation and collaboration of gender equality in achieving new partnerships globally. It is also very important to us to promote women's participation in peace building and peace processes, and to safeguard women's and girls' rights in peace processes. Finally, I would like to mention one aspect of gender equality and trade policy. That is, it's very important to ensure that all trade agreements take into account the rights of women and girls. Ladies and gentlemen, to conclude, I think we all agree in Finland that gender equality benefits all men and women equality, not only women. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador JÄÄSKELÄINEN. In development support and development aid, there will be an increase in the projects supporting gender equality, and also you talked about the gender streaming, and in the process of peace building, peace process, and also trade agreements, gender equality should be mainstream, and actions are being taken. Currently, they are ongoing. So it is not only in the area of gender equality as an area per se, but also gender equality perspective is important in all the policy and action areas. And ODA, Official Development Area Program of the Japanese government, is now under review. So we would like for the gender equality perspective is to be included in the review. Now I would like to ask a question to the local heads of local government. And the gender gap in Japan displays a notable difference between communities, and we fear that we mostly need to change awareness and everyday attitudes in Japan on the community level. Now, Mayor Tamura, how are you addressing these problems in your community, and what are you doing to create a sustainable local society, please? Yes, in my town, Hinode Machi town, in April this year, first executive positions have been occupied by a woman in our city hall. And this is one position out of 23 executive positions, and this is the first step we would like to promote further. And then 30% of our staff members are female, and the main they are in their 20s and the 30s. They are really valuable talents and who will be supporting the future of our town. So we would like for them to successfully pass the promotion exam so that they will fill the executive management positions in the future. It is really the future of our town which is at the stake in relation to their promotion. And then we created a program to promote the women's filling more of the executive positions and in a town administration. So we would like to share the same understanding about the women's promotions and importance, harassment, diversity, and women empowerment are the topics of our training sessions and meetings, and also for the maternity leaves, and we try to take a better consideration of women's needs in the post-natal phase. And then compared to 10 years ago, the work environment for female staff members and of our city town hall are very much different. And we owe much to the efforts made our women colleagues and the senior women. And then 18 months ago, I was appointed mayor of my town, and then without the backup of a major political party, I was elected as mayors of our town. So I believe that our citizens in our town are also highly aware of the importance of the gender equality. And 4 women out of 14 mayors and in these communities. So we believe that the Hinode town is highly focusing on gender equality. Well, it is typical for women to fill highest positions of management in the parents and teachers associations of our schools and also a cultural type of organizations. So the women promotion, women empowerment is not really fully covering all the areas and the aspects. Well, since I was appointed as a mayor, I am attending mayor's meetings, but I see that most of my peers are men. This is really surprising and amazing as a scene to look at. So the small number of active women in those levels of high positions, executive positions in Japan, means that the Japanese society and Japanese community is really lacking something really valuable, which is the more empowerment and activities of women. Thank you. Thank you very much. Now I would like to yes, Sato, what about in your city, Zama city? Well, thank you very much. In Zama city and in our prefecture, Kanagawa prefecture, the women heads of local governments, I am the only mayor of the city, and then there are 2 female mayors of other municipalities in the whole Kanagawa prefecture. So the female representations at the local heads level in Kanagawa prefecture currently is very, very low. And then in Zama city, there are 3 executives, including myself, in Zama city. Well, parental leave being taken increasingly by men these days. This is my feeling.
So, to touch about that, we do have an initiative where during pregnancy to childcare, there should be a very much streamlined, seamless support. So the whole process is not chopped up into different phases. Here in Japan, I think the challenge that we're facing here is that in Japanese education, we're not really taught much in detail about the laws. And I think that is why this does have an effect on being a part of the cause for these divorced mothers to be in poverty. There needs to be, because there needs to be an understanding of what legal support they can get in order to actually start receiving more money. Of course, when you're getting married, you don't really think about what will happen if I get divorced. However, this is a country ruled by law, and to be living your daily life without being aware of the laws, I think that's a very risky thing. And this is not just about women, it goes for the men as well. For everybody. In the education system, I believe there should be more thorough coaching and education on the laws. Laws should be the mechanism to protect the vulnerable. But because there's not enough opportunity for people to learn about these laws, these people are slipping through our fingers, really. So I think that is something that needs to be worked on a little bit further, and that is my plan too. Thank you. Thank you. So female empowerment, young girls empowerment, education is key in both areas. So you just mentioned legal rights. What are the laws that you can use, and what are the rights that you have? Your message was to really promote that, and I absolutely agree. Thank you so much for a message. Unfortunately, we're nearing the end of this session. So in summary, I would like to have our speakers offer their recommendations on what policies Japan needs so as to accelerate efforts for gender equality and women's empowerment, which are included throughout the 17 SDGs and their 169 targets, and bring them up to a global level. In order to really accelerate this at a local level here in Japan and globally, what can we do? So we would like to ask for our speakers for their recommendations. So what we did today is to distribute these flipboards to our speakers, and we asked, what is the vision and approach that's needed to empowering women in implementing the SDGs? And we have actually had them fill out the flipboards. Ladies, please prepare your flipboards, and please raise them so the camera can capture them. Thank you so much. Then let's go over them one by one. Mayor Sato has said, one for all for one, for the one goal. And Mayor Tamura said, we support the women who are taking that one step forward. And then the next ambassador of Finland, Ms. JÄÄSKELÄINEN, has said that, I'm going to read this out in English.
Decision-making service delivery and management boards ということで、草の根からボード取締役まで、それからローカルから。
So from the grassroots and the board members level, in all the processes and women's and participation in the decision-making process needs to be promoted.
Ambassador KAAHWA has said that promoting women's participation in local and higher decision-making, service delivery, and management boards. So multi-stakeholder approach is going to be essential. And it's not so much about siloing and sectioning them off. Everybody should be part of it as a whole. Lastly, from Bulgaria, Ambassador ARABADJIEVA, she has written increased awareness of women as agents of change. My apologies. The multi-stake approach, that was the Finnish from Finland, Ms. JÄÄSKELÄINEN, my deepest apologies. Once again, from Ambassador ARABADJIEVA, she has written increased awareness of women as agents of change, and they themselves need to take the matter into their own hands. Once again, my apologies. And Ambassador Tophace has said, my apologies for the confusion. So in summary, the way I see all these messages, you can please lower the other flipboards. Thank you so much. So the SDGs, is a process of changing the society. So that process of changing society is not just at a government level or at a local level. It's not just one or the other, but all the various stakeholders need to work together and to be truly in a multi-stakeholder approach. And so you have all pointed out. And also of the stakeholders, women are quite essential. And we're a very strong part of that as a stakeholder. And we women need to have that awareness and to also continuing to support each other to really help push this agenda. I believe that is a conclusion that we came to today. Thank you so much. In the future, in order for Japan to be able to further contribute to achieving these SDGs, and as well as to energize efforts to fulfill these SDGs in local community, administration, and government, is to share knowledge and take actions towards women's empowerment in ways that transcend national and local frameworks. And I felt that energy, and we feel like we can do this. That concludes our subcommittee meeting on active participation of women will change the shape of this country. Next, BijoNet will broadcast a presentation of our statements and a closing address. So if you'd like to continue watching, please switch the YouTube channels. You can also check the details provided in the description. Once again, thank you so much.